Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a topic that's both fascinating and alarming, the idea that by 2026, Russia might not just run out of tanks, but out of almost everything that keeps its massive economy and military machine alive. At first glance, it might sound exaggerated, but when you look deeper into the numbers, policies, and global dynamics, the picture becomes clear. Russia's exterior may still look powerful, but beneath the surface there are deep cracks forming, cracks that could reshape the country's entire future. For decades, Russia has built an image of strength, a nation powered by endless resources and an unmatched military heritage. From its vast oil fields in Siberia to the armored columns that parade through Moscow's Red Square, everything about Russia's exterior gives off the impression of dominance and resilience. The state still shows off its fighter jets, nuclear missiles, and energy exports as proof that it's untouchable. But this exterior is increasingly deceptive. The country's industrial and technological infrastructure, which once benefited from cooperation with Europe and the West, is decaying. Western sanctions have cut off the flow of advanced parts, high-tech equipment and software that are critical for modern production. What's left is a shell impressive on the outside, but emptying fast on the inside. The once polished paint of Russia's power is beginning to peel, revealing the rust beneath. Inside the country, the picture is even more troubling. Factories that once produced sophisticated machinery are now struggling to find replacement parts. Civilian industries are cannibalizing older equipment to keep production lines running. Car manufacturing has regressed by decades. Even basic safety features and modern electronics have become luxuries. The government insists on self-reliance, but domestic production cannot replace what has been lost through isolation. Everyday people are feeling the squeeze. Imported goods have become scarce. Inflation has eaten into savings, and job security has weakened. Many citizens now live under tighter economic conditions, and younger generations are emigrating in search of stability and opportunity. Inside the country, the air feels heavy with uncertainty, as if the walls of self-sufficiency are closing in. When it comes to the overall performance of the Russian economy, the numbers tell a grim story. Official statistics paint a picture of recovery and resilience, but experts point out that much of it is artificial. The government's spending is heavily tilted toward the military, industrial complex, while other sectors are stagnating. The sanctions imposed after the invasion of Ukraine have cut Russia off from global financial systems, modern semiconductors, and crucial industrial imports. In simple terms, the machinery that keeps the economy running is breaking down. Industries like aviation, automotive manufacturing, and energy refining depend on Western technology that can no longer be obtained legally. The country is now turning to China, Iran, and North Korea to fill the gaps, but those partnerships come with limits and hidden costs. Russia's performance looks like that of an old engine still running but with war. Without pistons and leaking fuel it moves, but it's losing power every mile. Even in its defense sector, the cornerstone of Russian pride, performance has slipped. Tanks that roll off production lines today often use salvaged or refurbished parts. Missiles are being assembled with imported chips smuggled through third-party countries. Reports suggest that Russia is reactivating Soviet-era equipment, not as a symbol of nostalgia, but out of necessity. The high-tech edge that once made its military feared worldwide is fading, replaced by a crude but desperate reliance on quantity over quality. The world is watching a great power trying to keep its machine running with whatever it can find, while pretending everything is under control. Safety has become another area of concern. Economically, socially, and politically, Russia's safety nets are wearing thin. The government has increased surveillance and censorship, giving the illusion of control, but that control comes at a price. As criticism is silenced and free discussion disappears, Mistakes multiply without correction. On the economic front, safety measures like subsidies and pensions are under strain as inflation rises and government spending priorities shift toward the military. The middle class, once small but growing, is now shrinking again. Basic healthcare and education are facing funding shortages. Rural areas are particularly vulnerable, with medical facilities closing and infrastructure falling apart. The system is stable in appearance, but brittle in reality like glass under pressure. Russia's safety features, in the geopolitical sense, are also eroding. Dependence on China has reached an uncomfortable level. Beijing provides crucial imports and acts as a major buyer of Russian energy, but the relationship is one-sided. China sets the terms, and Russia has little leverage left. The country's international alliances are shrinking, leaving it increasingly isolated. In a globalized world, isolation can be as dangerous as defeat. Without strong safety features to balance its economy, maintain its industries, or stabilize its politics, Russia risks sliding into long-term stagnation. Despite all these problems, Russia still has some unique selling points that give it a fighting chance, though even these are being tested. The country remains immensely rich in natural resources. Its oil, gas, coal, and minerals still have value, especially in countries that haven't joined Western sanctions. Russia also has vast agricultural lands that make it one of the world's largest grain exporters. These natural advantages give it temporary stability. However, relying on raw exports while neglecting technological innovation is not sustainable. The energy transition in Europe and the growth of renewable sources mean that fossil fuel demand could drop significantly in the next decade. If that happens, Russia's economic base could weaken even more. Another unique strength lies in its people, scientists, engineers, and innovators who have achieved remarkable things despite limited resources. Yet, this strength is also under threat. Many of these talented individuals have left the country, seeking opportunities abroad. The so-called brain drain has reached critical levels, leaving behind industries short on expertise. What was once a unique selling point, a highly educated and capable workforce, is becoming a fading memory as repression and limited freedom push people away. The price of all this is enormous, and it's being paid every single day. Financially, the cost of sustaining the war in Ukraine and maintaining an isolated economy is immense. The government has had to pour billions into defense spending, leaving little room for development, infrastructure, or public welfare. Inflation has eroded the value of the ruble, while foreign investment has almost disappeared. Many foreign companies have exited the Russian market entirely, taking with them jobs, technology, and tax revenue. The price is not just monetary, it's social and human. Families are split by mobilization and emigration. A growing number of young men have been sent to the front lines or have fled to avoid conscription. The psychological toll on the nation is deep, though rarely discussed openly. Politically, the price is also high. The government's increasing control over media and speech has created a climate of fear. Independent journalism has nearly vanished, replaced by state propaganda that insists everything is fine. But under the surface, people know that life has changed. The availability of basic goods, access to international travel, and the quality of life have all declined. Even for those who remain loyal to the state, there's an awareness that something fundamental is slipping away, a sense of openness, connection, and progress that once gave people hope. Looking ahead, analysts warn that by 2026, Russia could face a severe crisis of depletion not only of tanks, ammunition, or imported parts, but of the very elements that sustain modern life: skilled labor, foreign currency reserves, advanced technology, and social stability. The country may not collapse in the traditional sense, but it could hollow out from within, becoming a shell of its former self. It's a slow-motion decline, masked by propaganda and temporary victories, but inevitable if the underlying problems aren't addressed. In truth, the warning that Russia will run out of everything by 2026 is not about literal exhaustion. It's about systems breaking down. When a nation runs out of innovation, trust, and freedom, material shortages are only a symptom of deeper decay. The government's focus on military production over civilian welfare may sustain the illusion of power for a while, but it cannot create a stable or prosperous society. The longer the conflict continues and the longer sanctions remain in place, the harder it will be to rebuild. Even if the war ends tomorrow, the economic and social damage will linger for decades. So, what lies ahead for Russia? It could adapt and reform, seeking new global partnerships and rebuilding its industries with transparency and innovation. Or it could double down on isolation, becoming a heavily militarized resource dependent state trapped in a self-created cycle of decline. The choice depends on leadership, but also on the courage of ordinary people who want a better future. In the end, Russia's story is a reminder that no nation, no matter how powerful, can thrive in isolation forever. The world is interconnected, and cutting oneself off from the flow of trade, technology, and cooperation leads only to stagnation. The tank factories, oil wells, and propaganda machines may still roar for now, but without renewal from within, that roar will eventually fade into silence. Russia's exterior may continue to impress, but the true measure of power lies inside in the health of its people, the vitality of its economy, and the openness of its society. And if those continue to erode, then by 2026, it won't just be tanks that are running out, it will be the very spirit of a nation. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep and honest explorations into the world's biggest stories.